2, 1. What's up, mi gente? I am starting. Oh, wait, this isn't a vlog. I'm sorry. Pretty soon, I'm just going to say it now in this episode. The month of March, I'm going to be dropping a new episode every single day for at least the first 12 days of March. I'm sitting on some back catalog, and if you can't tell by now, I am in a new location. And today's topic is a good transition into it. But as you can see by the title, $20,000 in debt. Am I currently $20,000 in debt? No. Let me break it down. So at 24, as most of you know, I took that step where I wanted to move out of my parents' house, and I wanted to be a man, right? Like, that's what I thought. Like, I'm going to be a man, I'm going to stand on my own, and I'm going to move out. So I did that. I said it in the beginning of 2018. I believe it was New Year's. I didn't know it was going to be that quick because my parents and our ideas weren't aligned. Because of that, I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. I want to move on my own. Most of you have seen my old apartment. I was paying $950 a month. When I moved in, it was like half the month. So I believe it was like March 10th when I moved out of my parents, and that was 2018. The very first thing I did was like go to Best Buy. I remember I had to increase my credit line on my Best Buy card in order to buy the TV that I have now. Looking back on it, did I need to buy a $1,900 TV? No, but the me of 2 years later, it was a good choice. You know, I could have done something smaller, but you know, I said, you know, if I'm buying one TV and I want to have one TV for the house, because I don't like having TVs in my bedroom, I decided, why not go big or go home? That was one of my first biggest purchase. Then I bought, you know, I went to our van, and this old nice lady, you know, salesperson sold me on a two-piece sectional, and then, oh, you got to get the rug too, and then they sweet talk you, and you know, the life I was living before I got with my girlfriend. And I want to say, quick note, I don't know if this has ever happened to anybody. One of the first times in my life where I was able to switch into this new gear that I had no idea before. The fact that, you know, I can go home and I can be like, you know what, I can go out whenever with whoever. Like, there's no like, I'm not gonna get a call at 3 a.m. from my parents being like, hey, where are you? Are you coming home? Like, that doesn't happen, you know. Like, I could go out, and it was fun. Looking back at this, I can safely say that my mistake was that first year I was living on my own, I was actually living it as if I still had my parents' safety net. And when I say that, I mean, when you live at home or you live with your family or whatever, there's always that safety net of them. So like, imagine you're walking on a tightrope, right? And then you make a mistake, or you fall, or you get fired, or anything, right? Boom, left, right, whatever, you still fall. Your parents are there to somewhat not only protect you, but to have your back. You're under your parents' roof. Now, when you go and make that decision of moving out with yourself, there is no more safety net. The safety net is you. Looking back on it now, that was my biggest mistake. I was spending money and living a lifestyle as if I was still with my parents. And I had to learn that that safety net wasn't there. And that was, I don't want to say I hit rock bottom, but it sure as hell felt as if I did. And this was earlier this week. I actually passed by the bank, and I saw the bank where I had to take my credit card and I had to look at that ATM, and it was a bank that I don't even have, but you know, you could do a cash advance. And the first half of the year when I was living on myself, you know, I'm maxing out my credit cards, and they're putting holds on it because they think they've never seen me use this much credit. So as a credit card company, they're thinking, oh, this guy is about to max this out, and then he's probably either going to bankruptcy or he's just not going to pay this amount back. So they put me on a hold, and I'm actually thankful that my two main credit card companies did put me on hold, because otherwise this $20,000 could have been close to doubled. And, you know, so for the first half of the year, what I was doing in like 2018 was, you know, living, you know, this reckless spending. Like, you know, me and my girlfriend would go and eat twice out a week, you know, and that's not like $20, like $30, $40, $50, you know, twice a week. And, you know, there was no such thing as a budget. And I was just Hey, I got credit. Cool. Hey, we gotta go to Costco. Cool. Hey, we gotta go to IKEA. Cool. Hey, we gotta go to Target. Cool. Like, everything was good. And I was living in that mindset. I was like, man, mind you, I was moving job to job, trying to, catch that bigger bag. And I was like, if I leave this job with this experience, I can go here. And if I go here, I go here. And then, like September of 2018 happened where, that those games caught up to me. And, I got fired for the first time in my life. And I know I share that experience here on this channel, but, looking back, it was a wake-up call, because at that point I said, you know what, I can't do this. And I couldn't pay my credit cards for like 2 months. I had to take out that cash advance. And that's when I looked at myself. I was like, geez, like, I am in a hole. Like, I'm in a financial hole, and I need to dig myself out. So by the age of 25, I was in about a little bit over $20,000 in debt, meaning credit cards. I had to sit back and look at myself and realize that, like, I need to change things up. The moment I re-signed my lease, I was so glad, because my credit score was so bad that I literally couldn't move somewhere else. I took that as an opportunity. I said, you know what? I have 12 months to get my shit together. I need to figure this out. And during that time, I was shooting Nonetheless series with Brian Medina. I was open about my financial situation the moment of, and then it went from like the first episode of me trying to spit knowledge of what I knew to like the very last episode of me like finding new ways and finding these 7 baby steps and me actually following them. So at the end of last year, I was able to find myself a part-time job, and it was a retail job. And let me tell you, did I think that at 25 years old, about to be 26, I wanted to be working in retail? No. But I had no choice because of the choices that I made in the past. I came to the realization, I was like, okay, I punch in all the numbers, and I said, you know what? If I want to get out of this hole, even if I stay at the same job I'm at, it's going to take me about like 2.5 plus years to get out of there. And you need to understand, I am a person that hates debt. I hate waking up every single morning and knowing that I owe somebody, which is the credit card companies, my money, right? I get a paycheck, X amount goes to these credit cards. I'm like, man, do you know how much money I can be saving if I wasn't paying these fucking credit cards? But hey, I've even had friends who are like, dude, just claim bankruptcy. And I'm like, no, I'm like, that only makes you, like, bankruptcy is like you literally giving up on everything. The consequences that you fall when you claim bankruptcy, I had to realize I don't want to go through that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to fall for that. I don't want to be just another person who did bankruptcy, because these debts overtook me. I'm fighting this head on. So I got this part-time, and, I could say it for the record. I was working at Office Depot, and I worked there seasonal, because little did I know that store was closing in January of this year. When they did the closing, thankfully, now that I had a budget in place, I had like a vision of like, oh, this is how much money I owe. This is how much money I have coming in. I can know exactly where every single dollar goes, every single paycheck. That money did help me. And I'm not going to lie, like, that part-time job helped me move into something bigger and, like, start a family of my own. And I'm happy that I'm able to do that. So right now I'm in that transition spot where instead of waiting into the end of this year, to get another seasonal job, once I get my stuff situated here, you best believe that I am going to look for another part-time. I'm 90% sure it's going to be another retail job, but it's like, I got to do it, because there's goals I want to do, and there's this debt that I want to like take care of by the end of this year. Like, that's one major goal that I have. Luckily, I can say right now I'm on a steady pace to climb myself out. The last 2 years, I messed up. I learned from my mistakes. I got to show not only you and, people watching or listening to this, like, it's not you. I'm doing this to prove to myself, but I liked having a record of it. And thanks to YouTube, I can share that with you. So, like, if somebody else out there is going through this, like, hey, join me. Why not? Like, let's do this together. You're $5,000 in debt, you're in $1,000 in the debt, if you're in $100,000 in debt, like, yo, put your numbers together, figure out what you can do, and go after it. Because if I can do it, there's no reason why you watching right now cannot do it. And I'm telling you, because I live from experience and I share my experiences with you. And that's why I love like doing YouTube, because it's like, right now I just turned 26. I want to just be able to wake up at the end of the year and be like, you know what? The fact that I can save that money, and not only that, be able to not have to pay any credit card companies, is somewhere where I want to be again. And I know I'm 26, but I'm going to put this out in the universe. And I've been having like these types of, I don't want to say visions, but I've been having like this sight for me. And that is by 32, because it's crazy for me to say it, but 30 is around the corner. At 32, I want to be able to sit back and say that I have $175,000 in the bank. How am I going to get that money? I don't know right now. Once I get this goal of being able to get out of debt, that's going to be my next goal. Start saving as much money as I can, build that foundation. So like this family tree that I'm going to have one day, they can look back and be like, man, like my dad or like my grandpa or my great grandpa, like, yo, like we have footage of this guy sharing all of this and like getting there. And right now I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I will. I'm excited for what's to come. Sometimes you just gotta swallow your pride and go out there and just work and do as much as you can to give yourself the best life that you want to give yourself. And don't forget that, because that's what I'm working on right now. And with all that being said, I will see you next week.